Sorry. Gonna be a little choked up here a little bit, here back and forth. I'm still nursing a cold. Well, it's not as bad as it was when I first started off, but still got that little bits and ends of it that just does not want to seem to leave, but it has to leave. But anyway, we're here doing some demonstrations on our Black Series technology. This right here is our professional Black Cinema 1. And as you can see, it looks absolutely incredible. We just did a demonstration a few minutes ago showing off the product of 1000 lumens 720p projector versus 5000 lumens 1080p projector. And now we're just doing some contrast levels because to show that it doesn't really make a difference, that with our technology, you're going to be able to produce a 100% contrast level, whether if your projector is a 1000 lumen portable projector or if it's a projector of 5000 lumens. Let me come out here real quick. All right. So we got some new changes that are coming along for our company. Yesterday, I had a lot of chance to reflect and think about a lot of things and what I want from my business, what I want from my company. Having that a few customers tell us that our video demonstrations have been popping up just about every place. I mean, anywhere you go on Google, any place you go at, we're popping up. And I kind of realized that when I was just typing in certain keywords, and we were popping up all over the place because we have literally done so many test demonstrations you can possibly, so many of them, that we literally have flooded YouTube and just about every place else. So that's good to know. That's really good to know. So with that being said, knowing that our name is getting out there, and also too knowing that once we get the storefront areas, advertisement galleries, stuff like that, we'll be able to get our company to the next level. We'll be to get that advertising we need offline, which is going to bring us a lot of business. And like I said, not too much, because I said at the end of the day that I don't want to run my company on that level, because again, I love what I do. I don't want to turn it into something which becomes stressful and a headache. So I am going to put a cap on the website where we're going to do so many orders per month. That is definitely going to happen as these orders start to grow offline. Now, I'm adding in something real quick. We're going to put a section here for our 1000 lumen demonstrations versus our 5000 lumens, because this also gives the customers an understanding that they don't have to have an expensive a high lumen projector in order to operate our screens. Now, some other changes I also too want to make is we do want to advertise strictly on the Black technology. It is better. It is far better. I'm sorry, but people want to go back and forth and they want to talk about how the gray screens are obsolete. It's an obsolete product. It's been obsolete for a long time. Gunmetal has pretty much destroyed that particular part of it all. You show me one gray screen out there, any gray screen that can take on gunmetal technology, and I'll say, hey, that's an up-to-date screen. It can't. That's why you don't see a lot of people doing demonstrations on 9 and 10 gunmetal screens. You don't see people doing demonstrations side by side the Black Diamond, because they can't. It can't be a Black Diamond screen. It's a superior piece of technology. It's darker. There's no way in the world screens that are matching the color of these walls we have over here are going to take on a $5,000 Black Diamond. Please show me one. I would love to see it. But no one can show me one, so there isn't one. Because again, the gunmetal screens are more superior when it comes to these gray products. So that's why it's just a waste of our time to make these products. Now, I'm probably going to make this decision and start removing probably in about, I say around the end, not the end of the month. We'll give it maybe about 2 months, maybe 1 to 2 months. We'll start removing that off the site. Because like I said, and when I'm advertising in my showrooms, I'm not going to be showing off gunmetal. I'm not going to be showing off a gray screen. I'm going to be showing off strictly black. That's it. So what's the point of making something that we are not even going to advertise? Let me see. I need, what do we have here for we usually use for this one? Now, it's ignoring the haters and the stalkers. Yeah, we got some stalkers, we got some haters. Anytime you're doing something well, you're always going to accumulate, sadly to say, stalkers and the haters. But again, a message to you fellows, at the end of the day, and it's sad, I'm being stalked by a dude. The message to you is the fact that we're not going to bring you up anymore in anything else. It's just there's no point in just entertaining you anymore because, again, you know, these are people who make claims that their products are working. They have scammed a lot of people in the long run. They have no test demonstrations. The video demonstrations are missing off the website. There's a whole lot of craziness that we expose these people on. You can go to Blacklist and check that out for yourself. And they just can't back their products up at all. They've been faking it since day one. It's already caught up to some of them already. So, with that being said, and anyone who supports these jokers at the end of the day, we know what you're all about. You're all about scamming people. So, we've already seen the video demonstrations. We've already seen these people matching household paint products. And this video is disappearing off the account. Not just one person, another person was also doing it too. So, there's no point in basically talking anymore about your shenanigans because we know what you're capable of doing. We know what you do at the end of the day. And there's no point in us tainting our video demonstrations but just mention your name. Like I said, we have several, actually all of them are going to court, but we have one right now that's being prosecuted. So there's nothing more to say. You can make all the little weird videos and taking pictures of me and inside of my house and whatever weird stuff you do. That's the stalker and also to hater. But anyway, on our end, we got work to do. So I got a company to build offline now. I have to have showrooms. I have to have my screens on display so people can see them. And you're never going to come up in any of the conversations ever when we're offline, and you shouldn't be coming up anywhere online. The only way we're going to address these individuals is through court, and that's it. So that's it. I'm not going to bring up this, I'm not going to bring up that. You can make all the little videos you want, and you can answer for it all in court. Anything anybody does against our company, you can answer for it in court. I'm not going to go to your channel. I'm not going to do this. It's a lawyer's job. This we pay them to do. Their job is to go search and seek and find information and basically get ready for court. That's what they're designed to do. That's not my job. So we're not bringing you up anymore. If this guy wants to text message us or send us weird emails and all this mess, that's going to be forwarded because now we filed criminal charges against Fernando Gonzalez for stalking charges. Also bullying, cyberbullying. There's a whole lot of stuff he's being charged for. So get ready for that because that's coming up next. For now on, I'm not going to be entertaining you on that. Anytime you send anything to the account, it goes right over to where we need to send it to the proper authorities so we can get ready to start setting things up for court on that one for criminal charges. Whew, man, this guy's a weird. Oh. But anyway, yeah, so that's how we're going to handle that. Because I don't want to mention you guys in my videos. I really don't. And I don't want to mention you guys, especially offline. You're never going to be heard of at all, period. And what's the point of us basically going back and forth with you guys if you're not showing anything? You're not showing nothing. I just came on here and just did a demonstration of two side-by-sides, 1,000 versus 5,000 in a fully lit environment on a projector that cost me next to nothing. And I'm showing outer space and right behind me right now. And you guys don't do stuff like that. So why in the world am I even considering you guys to be a threat to my company? Because you're not. Not at all, period. I've done literally so many test demonstrations, so many demonstrations that I've got people coming up telling me that they're bumping into my demonstrations. You can't go on YouTube without seeing one of my demonstrations. You can't go on, if you Google anything, we pop up. Involving that form of technology, we pop up. So we're basically getting out there on that level, and we're going to be on a bigger level when we're offline, and we're going to be online and offline. We're not going to be strictly offline. So, why would we consider you guys to be anywhere on our level? If anything, you guys need us at the end of the day. That's why you guys try so hard to debunk our theories. You try so hard to make our products look like this, that, and the other. Number one comes from fear. We know that from the door. But number two is you need my recognition in order to go from left to right. We don't need yours. We do certified screens. You don't. That's where we get our recognition from. When I go into a forum site, I can go in there and I can dance with anyone in there. You cannot dance with anyone in there because, again, your products don't work. So we see a new future coming for our technology. We even have technology, wallpaper technology, already getting ready to go in 2024. And again, we gave you guys the option to design an entire product line and you couldn't do it. March is just about over. No product line, nothing at all. Clearly shows you can't. You have, just give it up. You're done. So pretty much we don't have time to entertain you anymore on that level at all, period. You guys just attack us because, again, you need us at the end of the day for us to give you some kind of attention. So that's being cut off, and the only attention you will get is from my lawyer and the courts. That's it. So take what you can get. Now, as for the stalker, we all know the stalker is. Like I said, anything you send over to me, I'm sending it over to the district, so we can, and my attorneys, so we can get ready to file the we're actually going to be filing criminal charges against the individual for several things, but one of them is stalking charges. All right, I need to go down here and I need to put all this in. Now, as I said before, our change is that I feel conflicted when I get on here and I talk about how, black technology is more superior to gray. And the reason why is because it is. Why are we making a gray product? We made the gray product because before it started, because people had valve projectors and WeMax projectors couldn't pick up on our black technology. So we bent a little bit to make it possible that they can have a better gray screen, especially than that Valve screen, which is absolutely disturbing and horrible. I watched the promo demonstration of that thing. They lied through the entire demonstration. There's no way in the world that thing is doing what it's claiming it's doing. If it wasn't for the other hater who went in and tried to prove that the Valve projector was this, that, and the other, we would have never saw it. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Phantom HD, and we'll give you a shout out for that one. Other than that, you don't know anything about the machine. You basically based your YouTube channel off. I had to come in there and literally embarrass this guy on the projector he didn't even know anything about. Didn't know they got sued by Epson. Didn't know they lied about their 6,000 lumen ratio they had. Projector sitting there with 3,000 lumens on a projector that costs that much money is extremely poor. If he couldn't pick up on that, he doesn't know anything he's talking about. And then the fact that he did several demonstrations, he did several demonstrations of a white screen. And not only that, a wall that blended into a $700, at the time it was $700, yeah, about $700 projection screen. Are you kidding me? And he couldn't see the difference in that. You can go, gee whiz, this is kind of messed up. It looked exactly, he couldn't see it. Unless he saw it and he just basically just swallowed his pride and just tried to get around it like Jamie did with the network grade 773 matching house paint. And just tried to accept it. And again, it is what it is. That stuff matched, and on top of that, that screen at that kind of money matched a white screen from eBay that cost $69 compared to a screen that he just paid for that cost him around $700, probably for tax and shipping. That doesn't sound like a person that I would trust their opinion at the end of the day because they're not smart enough to realize that. But thank you so much for doing the demonstration because, like I said, I would have probably ended up purchasing that screen, getting it down here, getting a white screen side by side, and it would have matched. So that's never good. But thank you on that one right there. But as I said before, the gray screens, they're done. I mean, you really can't do much with them. We have a technology, like I said, that's better than what Valve has for their projection screens. But again, it's gray, and because it's gray, it will never be able to produce 100% contrast. It cannot produce the color that we can pull off on a black screen. It doesn't have the high advancements that we can add for ambient light projection technology. We can't do our best with it because of its color. It won't work. That's why we did the demonstrations. We showed you the contrast those. We showed you everything up front so you can see exactly what you're getting. We didn't come on there and lie to you and say we're going to be to do this and do that and darken the environment, buy high-end projectors and make it look like something that it wasn't. We showed you exactly what you were getting. Even though it does better than most screen paints out there, it's still gray. I'm not happy about supporting it. So the gunmetal, any screen that's not black under that technology is going to be removed within 1 month. Because again, I can't come in there and talk about how this technology we have behind us is producing these amazing images. The gray screen doesn't have the capability, it never will. If I'm going to basically get black technology where it needs to be at in the future, we can't basically dwell in the past. And if those who don't want to accept it, well, guess what? There's other gray screen paints that you can go out there and you can buy at the end of the day. There's plenty of people who sell good, great products over on eBay that I would basically recommend. But other than that, if you're looking to get that 100% OLED and that super contrast and the amazing ambient light rejection and all that other good stuff, guess what? That only comes from black technology. Let me see. 1,000 lumens, 720p. That's what it is. 10. Alright, that's finished and done. Let's go to, let's see. That's the first one. And the next one deals for contrast. We get the little tone on the top of it too. So this is the section I'm putting in right now for video demonstrations for 5,000 1080p versus 720p at 1,000 lumens. That way, when we get customers, and we're going to put these in every last one of our links, but we add it in all the shopping carts, so that way, customers comes in, they can see exactly how 1,000 lumens is going to react. Now, this is just in case, real quick, that we know that they're going to do this side by side. We can do it too. No, you cannot do it. You just keep skipping those contrast levels every chance you get. That's another problem I have. Skip contrast levels like there's no tomorrow. You do not have the ability to produce black. You're not in the level of black technology. I still haven't even seen none of them test black diamond yet. Well, y'all are terrified of diamond technology. You should be, but you're terrified of it. Dark Star 9, you don't even touch those. You don't go near those. Daylight has another gunmetal screen. Y'all don't even touch them. The reason why y'all don't touch them is because you know you can't compete with that technology. That technology can pull up images way better than your products. And I know I've tested them. There is no way in the world that you're going to sit there and convince people that a screen the same color as this wall we have over here is going to be able to beat a $5,000 gunmetal screen. That's not going to happen. And even more, I don't even know what's worse. I mean, my buddy was like, "Man, you're done, man. They're done. They're basically just smoldering and basically just burning." Because this is what you guys would. Where are your tests? Honestly, where are your tests? keep on telling me you're saving me hundreds of dollars and we can beat $5,000 screens at the end of the day, then where's the money being saved at? None of my projectors in here cost $1,000. None of my projectors in here cost $600. $500 is the most I spend for a projector. Where are you saving any money at? What about the environment? You can't be in this environment, your screen won't pull up. So what's the point? All you're doing is selling a product that people made 12 years ago when gray screen paints were the rage, and all you did was take an up-to-date projector and you stick it on that screen paint. That's all you did. Products are old. The reason why I know your products is because I made your products. I made your products 10 years ago. I was making your products. 10 years ago, I was making your products. That's how old your stuff is. That's how I know how it's going to react, how it's going to function, what's in it, how it's made. I know all that stuff because I was making your products years ago. See where it says in the demonstration 1 hour or less? You know why it says 1 hour or less? And that demonstration from 10 years back? Because at that particular time, that's when Blue Screen was all the rage. You guys don't even know the history of your product. You're in there making false accusations. There is no way in the world that the products that you guys are making are doing anything different. It does the exact same thing it did 10 years ago that it does now. The only difference is different projector, that's all. If I went back at that particular time and took the P2 and stuck it back in that particular time, 10 years ago, that would have made my product look like it was something completely different. People have been looking at that like, what the freak? That screen paint? Yeah, I had a collide, so that's coming from the screen paint right there. That's all you did. You can't test this stuff. There's no way to test it. It's virtually impossible. The only thing this stuff was tested on doing back then was how fast you can apply the screen, and basically we can use some ambient light in the environment. That's basically about it. But the reason why, if you look at the demonstration say you can paint it on drywall, you can paint it on your wall, you can paint it on this, you can paint it on that, because at that particular time, Goose Screen was running everything, and you couldn't paint Goose Screen on anything that you wanted. You had to paint it particularly to a wall and to a wall only. And it took longer than 1 hour. It took quite some time. So being able to paint a screen in 1 hour or less was considered to be freaking amazing back then. That's why I sit there on camera and I watch your demonstrations and start laughing like y'all doing nothing new. That stuff had the same issues back then. It didn't pull. Matter of fact, contrast wasn't even considered a big thing back then. It wasn't. The fact that you can watch the screen, the lights on. Sorry about that. Watch the screen with the lights on and do it with less than hours was a big thing. That you didn't have to sand or any of that stuff was considered to be a big thing. Now I showed up these demonstrators to show how much people don't do research on us, and they come off into our channel looking like idiots. We had naysayers used to come here in groups, and they would go, "Oh, you make a black screen making this?" Yeah, I showed them this demonstration. A bunch of them just left the room. "Oh, you didn't know I was making great screen paint products. I was making this stuff before you guys were very heard of." That's pretty embarrassing, isn't it? And you guys are. This is what makes it even sadder. At that particular time, I was signed to a global contract. Even though these guys try to cheat me in the long run, but I was signed to a global contract. And here you are, you guys had the same stuff, pretty much almost like we had back then, and you're nowhere. Because in any form site that you pop in with this stuff, everybody knows how to make it. It's been made to death. There's nothing new, there's nothing special about your products. If there were, then you could show us something. One of the things you have to show up back then, like I said, contrast wasn't a big thing, so you didn't see a lot of contrast demonstrations. Just to be able to paint the screen in no time at all, no sanding, none of that nonsense, no 3 and 4 and 5 hour applications and multi-code applications. That was the thing back then. That's all that was important. Now today, things are a little different. Screens have ambient light rejection technology embedded into them. They have to be used in fully lit environments. They have to operate like TVs, like what I got running behind me right now. They have to produce insane amount of contrast levels, because contrast is everything now. Oh, that's changed. The game has completely changed. But you guys are still stuck in the past. Using smoke and mirrors, using projectors with high caliber contrast to make the customer think they're going to get that image, and make them think they're going to be able to pull a screen up in a fully lit environment. You said in your demonstration that you said that your product is not ambient light rejection. You did say that. Well, that person with that 4K projector at 3,500 lumens, well, you definitely weren't ambient light rejection, because there's no way in the world that screen should have washed out in that little bit of light. I got more light in my environment than he has right now, and my screens are running. And I'm doing one at 1,000 lumens. So yeah, your product's definitely not that. This stuff wasn't ambient light rejection either. It had a gain to it, but it wasn't ambient light rejection. And on top of that, that demonstration with the venue projector, that was poor. You shouldn't have to turn out lights with venues. No way in the world. Not for that caliber of machine. We saw the first demonstrations with the birds. That screen was clean. It was washed out. It was poorly washed out. And then they had to turn out the lights because the screen was going to wash out. Why didn't they do the whole demonstration with the lights on? And how come we didn't see any contrast levels? That's required now. So what you guys are doing is you're doing demonstrations that they did from the past. And I can go back and look at my contrast over here, but gee whiz, man, the contrast levels were absolutely horrible. But like I said, that particular time, it wasn't a big thing. And you got people like, I hate to say his name, but Danny comes into a room and talks all this philosophy nonsense. I'm airing it right now because we're not talking about you guys anymore, so I'm airing it right now. What do you know at the end of the day? Do you see this demonstration? You talk all this stuff about bubbles and stuff, just dumb nonsense on camera, stuff that makes no sense whatsoever. Just on camera talking a whole bunch of junk. You don't know what you're talking about. Let alone you can't even keep your website open long enough in order for you to basically sell anything, because again, in fear that someone's going to buy that product and test it, and then all that nonsense you were talking is just going to become nothing but hot air. It already is hot air. You clearly stated that already when you had one demonstration saying one thing and another demonstration saying another thing, both on the same page. I don't know. I don't know where you think people's minds are in the day. No one's going to look at both those demonstrations and think they're both telling the truth. They're not. And how long have you been doing this business, Danny? Not a long time, have you? No, you have not. You don't know jack. 10 years ago, you didn't exist. Where were you at 10 years ago? When I was on ABS forums and I was with Mississippi Man, and oh, you put down Sonic Chill. You don't even know what a freak Sonic Chill is. I was in that era with them. You weren't even thought of on a website. We go back farther than Crow. Oh yeah, way back farther than Jamie. We bumped into Jamie when I had the D5K. When we bumped into Jamie. This is a digital one. This is a light gray screen paint. A D5K was a little bit darker. That's when we bumped into Jamie. Jamie came into our room asking for our ingredients, how it was made, because at that particular time, he was giving away products for free. That's why we had the demonstration of him making a product for free. It's interesting how you guys want to forget your history. Well, other one doesn't even have a history. It's like watching a football team without a throwback. Y'all don't even know your own history. There I am peeling it right off using some everyday masking tape right there. What y'all did was you went in and you copied my old demonstrations. That's what you did. Showing people that you can paint it on drywall, that's been done to death. We did that many years ago back. That's nothing new. And then before he goes on, but look at the quality. Dude, P2s didn't exist at that particular time. They weren't even heard of. That's a 2000 lumen NEC 720p projector that's being on display. If I had the P2 at that particular time, it would have been a whole different image. So for you to get there and say at the end of the day that the quality is coming from your product, it's not. It's coming from the P2. That's where it's coming from. That's why all the customers, when we look at their demonstrations, they don't match the P2. And the demonstration, even with the venue projector, it didn't look the same way as it did in your demonstration. It looked completely different. It was washed out. The reason why is because you don't use that much light in your environment when you're showing up your screens, and your projectors are literally kissing the screen. That's why. If anyone were to take your product and drop it back at a distance, use a different projector, it would change dramatically. That's why the customer with the 4K 3500 lumen projector looked more like your product in the dark. But the minute he tried to put the lights on in that environment, it completely washed out. It looked nothing like your screen whatsoever. But in our demonstrations, and even with the promo with the church, that projector sits back farther than 4 or 5 feet. Screen is much larger. It's not a 200 screen. That screen's over 1,000 inches. 10 times more stadium lights that are sitting literally right on top of the screen. And we can, in that demonstration, you can see our technology pop up with no problem whatsoever. No fade, no washout, none of that. Look at our customer demonstrations. We got customers sitting outside on a 720p projector. See, that's what I'm talking about. Everything you guys have done, we did it already. That's why it's nothing new. That's why when Danny made that comment about finger paint, we knew you were watching our demonstrations because I'm the only one that did that demonstration. You don't even know the purpose of why that demonstration was done because, again, you don't understand what you're talking about. The reason why I took my hands and I ran it through the screen that way is because when we were doing demonstrations versus Goose Screen. And in Goose Screen, you couldn't touch the screen. If you had did this to the screen or touched it, you would have to do the same you have to do the process all over again. So if you made a mistake and you hit that screen or anybody hit that screen, that same process would have to be done all over again. But we're showing in our demonstrations that you can make a mistake by hitting the screen, doing this, doing that, and you don't have to go through it. Just roll over top of it and you're done. Because at that particular time, we were going against Goose Screen. And the reason why you didn't understand the demonstration, you cracked that joke that way because you weren't around that time, you didn't know. Which makes you a noob. The ultimate fire stick setup, I beg to differ on that one. I got multiple fire sticks. I can start a whole entire freaking rant on fire sticks. Gee whiz. There's a slip silver challenge. Popped up right over there 6 months ago. Never done. That's showing up in my old archives now. That's Digital One Crystal Screen Paint. Just to get the water to reflect that way on a gray product is a big thing back then. Now today, Well, not really. More like black screens, yeah, because it's a darker technology. But for a gray screen to do that, not really. Remember that old little Sony camera I showed you? This is where I was shooting my videos off on. So I have my old camera. I'm gonna bring up some of my old demonstrations on our past. DigitalCrystalScreenPaint.com. Army 2. That's just how old this is. They should bring this game out. They literally should bring it. Army 2 is amazing, especially for co-op. It's an amazing game. Excuse me. I can never understand when they do the bottle of bleach or containers. They'd make them in the N64 games. They'd make them gigantically huge. I think I'm gonna bring our video demonstrations up for our oh wow, this is right here, the 3.0. This is a platinum screen. This is also to another platinum. This was a 3D application paint we were making a long time ago. Never got around to finishing it. But it was a 3D application paint. It would react to those glasses. I don't even think I even remember how to make it. It was a long time ago. But it was made for 3D, did 3D reactions. It's pretty cool. But we never got around to that. Was for, let me see, if it was that time, it might have been for their company we're making it for. I'm pretty sure around that time. Look at this. Look at the ambient light. Not even ambient light. Look at the, we call it gain. There's my BenQ. That's my BenQ MS500 projector. That's the first projector I ever owned. A custom gaming PC mod or built. There's my Xbox 360 right there. Actually rebuilt the Xbox 360. Let's swing over to it. Even had kill switches on it on my Xbox 360. I also had touch fan controllers and everything. This is not an Xbox 360, this is actually a gaming PC. That's an Xbox 360. I had kill switches on it. Yep, that's where I started from, in my tiny little room. That's how I started, right from that tiny little room. So, for you naysayers that don't know much about me, no, I did not start off with black technology. I literally started off with gray technology. That's how I started. You guys even copied everything down to my rollers. Everything. Because we were the only ones using those rollers at that particular time, right? I was using the 9-inch naps because of Goose Screen's protocol. And later on, as we got to much bigger screens, we realized that the smaller ones are not the way to go. It would have been the 9-inch naps. Let me just see, like right here. We got a demonstration where I coded, that light is coded in screen paint. We actually used it for a projection screen. Notice how bright that level's coming up. What got me on the map, Jamie, and I explain this to you, is that when they saw my demonstrations, they saw that the window that where the projector was at was never covered. I never covered that window. It always stayed open. So light only had so much room in there. So light only had one way to go, and that was to hit that screen. That screen was constantly being hit by window light. And then I had lights over top in the room that were making contact. So I was inside of this little box, but yet all this light that we had in there, none of it was being shielded. Everything was hitting the screen. And at that particular time, that was considered being a big thing, because every demonstration, when they had the Galaxy, I think the 737 DGs or whatever they were, these projectors they had from overseas, everybody was picking them up and buying. They were pretty good too, actually. For a knockoff projector, they were extremely good. These are projectors that actually physically worked. But anyway, and the lamps were like 35 bucks, which at that time lamps were really expensive for a projector. But as I told you before, because they saw me in that little box and all that light. Then on top of that, they saw the fact that I was persistent, that my push, my drive, that all my demonstrations I did were by the book. I didn't use at that time, would have been 1080p, 3000 lumen projector would have been a top model. I was using Pico projectors of 200 lumens. I was using projectors of 2000 lumens. I was way below my count. And I was still pulling in that environment. And that's how I ended up getting the contract overseas. Because one day I'm sitting home and someone contacts me, calls me up, and he says, "Hey, you Mr. Bird?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And he says, "I'm watching your videos, and I'm really interested in what you got. Now, this is what I want to know. Is this legit?" I said, "It's legit. You can come down and check it out for yourself." So he said, "Okay." So now I'm going to let you know that when we flip this switch, it's on. It's going to go. It's everything I said, it's going to happen. And I thought to myself, all right, because I'm used to getting these pranks and jokes from time to time. So I said, okay, so that was basically about it. Guy called me again. He called me just about every single day to contact me, let him know that it was legit. So eventually, he did pop down. And he came down with a bunch of his friends, and we went to go meet over at freaking Subway, and I sat with my back against the wall, because that's how I do business. If I'm doing business, I'm always going to be sitting with my back against the wall. I'll watch you come in. And they sat down. I had several friends and associates that were outside in vehicles waiting to see if anything went down. I had my back up there. I hate to put it this way, but sometimes in business, boy, I'm telling you, first starting off, yeah, you're going to be, if you don't learn little key signs to look for certain things, yeah, you're going to have to basically, that's how things are going to react. So basically, they came down, they pulled out the contract, looked at it on the table, I said, "Oh shoot, it's really gonna happen." And then basically cut me a check for about $3,000, not order, $3,000 for me to do what I want to do with it, to show they were serious. So when they left, they got in the car, we all shook hands, and my people were all out there. They were sitting out there eating, they were sitting out there talking, they were just out there just to make sure nothing didn't go down, we didn't have any problems. So when I got out there, they already left. I was like, "You got a contract!" Well, I took everybody out to eat. And they came back in a week later, contacted me again, and then they put an order in for $2,800. That's what they did. Yeah, I remember that, because that's when PayPal put it on hold, and they were saying, "Well, we got to put it on hold because we have to make sure the money's legit," and blah, blah, blah. And I had to contact them. They were in another country, and they were able to get back with us. So, yeah. Yeah. But I always give that speech at the table every single time. Why do you fight for the crumbs below when there's a 4-course meal above you? They never get that one, but when the time comes, they do. This is how our history got started. It's funny how things cause for change and reaction. I sit back and watch how things change that direct us in different paths on where we end up at. It's very interesting. So before the Jamies and the other ones we had, let me put it this way for you guys to understand this. The parties, or not going to parties, the Dannies, the Jamies, all you guys at the end of the day. Let me explain something to you guys in the day. You're nothing new. I've been dealing with trolls since I first started my business, when I was developing great paints 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I was dealing with trolls. I've been fighting companies since then. You're nothing new at all. It's the same old nonsense I'm used to seeing. The difference is that I'm going into storefronts, my product line is launching, we got new technology out, and you guys are tanking. One person can't even open up his website. The other person is dropping his prices on his site and right there on live stream. He's got products matching house paint. He's deleting videos off his account. Not going too well. And then turn around, this guy's going to end up going to court and getting sued for a lot of money he doesn't have. Not a good year for you guys. I've been through all this stuff already. I'm an old veteran. You guys are noobs. The same stuff that you claim right now that you basically think is something new, we did all this stuff already. There's a demonstration on drywall. Look at the date on it. You did a demonstration on drywall, how amazing it is to paint your product on drywall. Big deal. Did it 10 years ago. Drywall demonstration, 10 years ago. Any demonstration you're showing, I've already did it already. Right there. Because at that particular time, 10 years ago, if you were going to do a drywall, you had to sand, you had to putty, everything on the wall had to be smooth as glass. There were tons and tons and tons of demonstrations on AVS forums of people just spending countless hours sanding their walls down to no end because they wanted to have this perfect flat surface because of glue screen. Danny, how I know your product too well is because all that water you put into your product, guess who else was doing that? A lot of other people were doing the same thing you were doing because they wanted to mimic Goose Green. Goose Green's product, I don't know if they're now, but at that time were very, very thin products. So if you had any imperfections or anything on your wall, this would basically show up on your screen. So you had to make sure that the surface was sanded down perfectly flat in order for you to have none of those imperfections pushing through on the wall. Well, what I've seen in his product, with that product being that thin, he made a comment basically when painting wood. If you had certain grains or certain thing that wasn't that smooth, yeah, it's going to pop up on the screen because his product is very thin because there's water in it. Goose Green doesn't have water in their products, just a very thin solution. So you would have that problem. The same thing that they would have if a person didn't take the time to sand down the surface. The only problem with yours is half of that product is water and the other half is paint. And then if a person does happen to pay for this, how much paint did they just pay for and how much water did they get? So doing demonstrations by saying, well, it has to be this and you can't paint over this and can't paint over that, that was already done with Goose Green and 10 years ago. All you guys did was copy. That's what you did. I might just put these videos up under, we're going to put the archives section in there for the show for our great products. How we first started off 10 years ago, or 12 years ago, somewhere there. Invisible technology, guess what? We had it. We had it 12 years ago. 12 or 10 or 8, somewhere in that probably right there. We had it already. So the interesting part about it is, how is it that we develop a great product? We have more demonstrations, more test demonstrations on this product than you guys have on the product now today with the up-to-date, more technological projections we have today to have more advanced technology than what we had back then. Because there is no way in the world I had what you guys had back then. That's virtually impossible. Far Cry 3. You know how old that one is? Pretty old, ain't it? That's how I got the name we first started off, Digital One Crystal. Now the ones we have now, Crystal's fairly invisible. Can't see them. So when I first started off, my screen paint sold for $50 a quart and $100 a gallon when I first started off. And I wasn't making any money. Between paying for shipping costs and containers and product, I wasn't making any money at all, period. And my mother sat me down, she said, "What's wrong?" I said, "I'm depressed because I'm not making any money. I got a good product and I don't know what to charge for it." She said, "Well, you got to make that decision on your own. You got to find out how much you're worth and what people are willing to pay." So one day I went out and I charged $200 a gallon and $100 a quart, and they still bought from me. And when the black technology came out, I charged $900 a quart. I sold 125 in the first week at $900 a quart. And that's when I realized what my technology was worth. Now we got stuff way beyond that technology. This is nothing compared to what we engineer now. But I also learned a valuable lesson of that too. To keep my prices reasonable so everybody can afford them, because then I'll end up being like those guys at the end of the day. I had a few customers make some very interesting theories. Say, you charge all this money, you're going to get a few orders here and there, or you can make it reasonable so everybody can afford it at the end of the day. And that's coming off a 720p projector on drywall. We didn't have P2s back then. We didn't have all that technology we have now. We had none of that. That was a really good one. I like the Far Cry series, but I missed this particular how they made the Far Cry with it. I mean, you didn't have much wildlife that would murder you in the other one, but man, this one, the wildlife was ferocious, man. And this guy, I think, is extremely good. Far Cry is known for their villains. Their villains are actually extremely, extremely good. They go over and above, but I think this was the best one. Due to the fact that the wildlife was berserked. It was absolutely berserk. I mean, you weren't going to go roaming around in the woods in the middle of the night with a Komodo dragon waiting for you. You know that much. I like that one. They did make the AIs insanely smart. That cave incident, you had to stealth to the cave and you couldn't make any noise. And you open up an ammo box and oh man, must got killed multiple times. Outdoor. This is how I was testing my outdoor screen paint. I had to use what I had. So what I did was I would take a screen, I'd paint it, I'd stick it outside the window like this, and I would date it. You got a nerve to put on your website from humble beginnings. You don't even know what a humble beginning is, Danny boy. I sat there in that small little tiny room and I slept on that floor for 4 to 5 years. I was surrounded by paint 24/7. Persistent to learn as much knowledge as I possibly can, but also too, praying that one day I'll be released from that small little room into something a little bit bigger to allow me to be able to grow. You don't know what humble is. You don't know what it's like to, when you get your orders, you're gonna be sick, whatever, and you will basically walk through the snow, you will walk through the rain, whatever it takes to get your customers taken care of. You don't know what humble beginnings are. I know, because I had to go through it. Even when I was in that house that almost killed me from mold poisoning, I sat up on camera dying and didn't realize the place was killing me at the entire time I was suffering from mold poisoning. And got up every day, got on camera, and did demonstrations. And even when I got out of that situation, and I was at the new house, I was still suffering and still dying behind the camera. Every time I got on camera, I was sick as a dog. Went outside in the backyard, got eaten alive by mosquitoes just about every single day to go out there and do demonstrations for customers. You don't know what humble beginnings is. You don't know what sacrifice and hard work is. Watch this movie, it's freaking hilarious. Yeah, sorry about that, people. It was cold. I was the outdoor paint I was working on. This is my product right here. This is, we did this 3 years ago. Black paint versus our product. Supreme 7. Well, gentlemen, I'm going to basically, from now on, we don't need to bring you up for anything, because, you know, I got good customers at the end of the day. I got amazing customers at the end of the day. And they contact me from time to time and say, man, I wonder why you going through this and why you doing so and so and so. Don't even mention these guys. They're not even worth your time. You already proved what you can do at the end of the day. I can go back and check out your archives from 10 years back, and I can see how hard you pushed, how hard you worked, and all your demonstrations to make sure you make good product for your customers. I was out there working when you guys weren't even thought of on YouTube. And all of a sudden, you see me working hard, getting my grind on every single day, doing what has to be done, and you want to jump on, start this bandwagon of jumping and piling on top of me to try to destroy me. You ain't destroying anything at the end of the day. It ain't never gonna happen. I've been fighting people like you from day one. The only thing that's gonna happen is you're gonna let the bull loose and you're gonna get poked by the horns, and some of you are gonna get poked sooner than later, because, you know, I'll be seeing you in court real soon. There's nothing new. I've been fighting these jokers off for years, and I'll be fighting many more off until I decide to retire. You picked the wrong person at the end of the day, gentlemen. You might stuff might have worked on everybody else on YouTube, but you got the wrong person today, or any other time. Oh, there's the hoodie. There's the clothes, jacket. What was that? What was the jacket? I had somebody. I painted somebody. And literally, what we painted it? We painted the shirt and the clothing and everything, and we turned them into a projection screen. See, the window's always open. In any demonstration, that window's always open. I made a canvas screen. You know, artists do a canvas screen. That's a pain in the neck. Canvas is something else. Excuse me. Canvas screen is freaking headache. Been done one. There's two different kinds of canvas, which I found out later on in time. You have your art canvas, which is much smoother, doesn't have seams in it, and it doesn't have string coming off of it, like different string, a lot of string. And then you have, okay, what are you asking me now? Then you have canvas that is for drop cloth. Never use that. Never use drop cloth canvas. That stuff is the worst. This is a good game. It gave me motion sickness like there was no tomorrow. I loved it though. That was interesting. Sitting there playing the game and some guy comes breaking through a freaking wall, full body ballistic armor and a minigun. Yeah, that's a good one. That was a good game though. Easy, fast and easy. Paint on demonstration. Oh man, this is a non-cracking, non-peeling demonstration from 9 years back. So a lot of questions will come up is that, could you paint this on? This is when the motorized projection screen questions started popping up. 9 years ago, mind you, not now, 9 years. If the screen would paint with crack or peel. So this is one of the demonstrations I did. So I went over to, because I didn't have the room for a motorized projection screen, so I went over to Home Depot and I got one of those shades that they had to kind of be pulled down, and we turned that into a screen. coated that and turned that into a screen. Look at the paint all over the floor. So I rolled one up, put it in the corner, then opened it up. Just like we got the screen where basically we froze into a block of ice. Stuck a screen, wrapped it up, froze into a block of ice, got it right on the website for anyone to watch, and we had to break it open with a hammer to get the ice to separate from the screen. I was able to pull it apart on camera without any cracking or peeling. So people want to sit there and judge me and say, oh, you just hate great products. I was making great products. That's how I got my start. I gotta clean my computer out, it's dirty. That's how I got my start in great products. It's just that I saw what true technology looks like the minute when my birthday came up and I got a piece of black diamond sample sheet in my hand. And they are responsible for the technology right behind us because they are the ones who triggered the cause and effect. But it's interesting how everything had worked out, because if it wasn't for the people coming down from that particular country to getting us the contract, and from the contract, if it wasn't for them doing this ugly, because at the time I'm thinking like, Lord, you bless us with this contract, and then these guys are trying to rob us, but it was a perfect plan to put us someplace better, and I didn't see it. Sometimes some bad stuff is happening to you, it's not because they're happening to you for the sake of just being happening to you, it's because you're being pushed in a better direction. It is time for you to leave wherever you're at or whatever you're doing and go someplace else. You're being pushed someplace else. It's time to go. So that's all that time I thought that this technology was, see how we can ball it up? Oh, I love that part. I can ball it up and it doesn't crack or peel. Yeah, I'm doing crazy stuff. But anyway, it's pushing us in a different direction. So we get the contract, we get some notification from these people, they put us out there, we get that advertisement, our business goes up a little bit more, but in the process, they try to steal from us. And the process trying to steal from us, we ended up, at that particular time, I started seeing some demonstrations on screen innovation. My buddy was showing me some demonstrations. I seen this guy come out there, tall dude with gray hair and glasses, and he took this sample sheet and he put it in front of a white screen. And everywhere he moved to that screen popped blue. I was like, gee whiz, what the freak is that? Freaking amazing. It popped blue everywhere it landed at. So I became fascinated by it. I walked out of our buddy's store, just millions of questions going through my head. How is it possible that he was able to get a screen that dark to produce, especially I thought it was black, because everyone was saying black diamond, so I thought it was a black screen physically. This is their invisible technology from many years back. So I'm like, how was he able to do this? Like, how do you get white light to come through there? How is that working? Like, it's a black surface, that's not even possible. It's funny, because the same thing excuse me, the same way I was skeptical then is the same thing people are skeptical now, and I've seen the reaction when they see that screen pop and the image is pushed through, that I know what kind of reaction they're going to get from that, from my own experience. As you can see that black technology in the background, that's when we're experimenting with black technology. So anyway, at that particular time, I'm still going through the conflict with the other contract. So I got a 10-year contract I'm locked in there with. There's no way for me to get out of this unless I basically destroy my entire product line, which I did. I went in and basically got all the beta testers we had under Digital-1, and we had them testing we started a new company called Crystal Onyx. Is it Crystal Onyx? Yeah, Crystal Onyx. Digital-1, Digital 4K Crystal Onyx. Sorry about that. That was the name of the new company. So we're able to keep our first name, but the rest was ours. And when I signed out the contract, I put the contract under Digital-1 Crystal Screen Paint, not under Kenneth Bird. If I put it under Kenneth Bird, that means they would have owned all rights under Kenneth Bird. I put it under the company's name. So, excuse me. So basically, yeah, they took me to court and tried to take my company under Digital 4K Crystal Onyx, and they lost because they only owned the rights to Digital-1, and that was on the contract, not the darker technology. And to get rid of them, to pay them back for what they did to me, I went in and basically had all the beta testers do side-by-side versus the old versus the new, and their value for the product dropped. Nobody wanted it, they wanted the darker technology. And that's how I was able to get rid of them and crush them at the same time. And a little speech I gave him, why do you fight for the crumbs below? Well, it's a 4-course meal over top, which means if you had treated us right to begin with and stopped fighting over those little crumbs below, you would have realized that we could make better technology than what we gave you, and you would have been able to enjoy the 4-course meal, which you missed out on. Yeah. And eventually they starved. So basically they went under, and we flourished. So that's around the time we started testing the D4K, D5K, and D6K, which was gunmetal darker technology. We didn't know it was gunmetal. We just called it a form of a darker gray paint, or charcoal or slate or whatever, that's what we called it. So right around that time, this is where I was still studying with diamond technology and looking at their stuff, and still fascinating about designing a product that looked exactly like theirs. That's what I wanted. I wanted the same thing he had. So on my birthday, buddy called me up and said, hey, come down to the store, I got something for you. And I came down there, it was a sample punch sheet of black diamond technology. She was best gift ever. So I'm so excited. Go order me some food, because I know I'm in there for a couple of hours. And I must have spent like at least, this is a demonstration back on projection screens for doing basketball demonstrations. Let's go check this out real quick. So as I'm in there testing this, I found out some interesting things about their technology. I'm not going to say much about it, but I did find out some interesting things about their technology. But we were able to match the screen. We were able to do it. Finally figured it out. From testing, I finally figured it out. And when I figured it out, it had an identical match to this screen. I went back and contacted my buddy and said, I got it. I got an identical match. I have their technology. I have it right here in my hand. I got it in my head. I already have it. And that came from God just giving us information. And just giving us information on how to do this, how to put this together, how to correct that, how to do this, how to do that. I was in the learning processes of learning how to do that, to mimic certified screens. I could mimic any certified screen I want. I can make exactly duplicates of their screens. But I didn't want the duplicate of the screen. I wanted a better screen than what they had. So this is when I was looking at the diamond. The diamond had me thinking the screen was black, but it wasn't. It was a dark gunmetal. So I thought to myself, well, I want a black screen. That's what I want. And guess what? We got a black screen. And they're the ones who pushed us in that direction, because again, I wanted something, not the color of the screen, I wanted something darker. I wanted an actual black screen. Something that I saw in my head, that I saw a vision of this black screen, and I saw how it was designed, and when I woke up, I started making it, and boom, that's how they first started. And now we got it sitting right behind us right now. And later on, I got contacted by them, telling us that our products had potential, and they wanted to discuss more on the products. And because the way I was treated in that ordeal, which I didn't like, I designed every single black technology is strictly designed to take out a diamond. So, again, I can't express this enough to the little gnats, the naysayers that constantly float in our universe, who think that bottom line is it has everything to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. It never did. It's always been about the certified companies. That's what it's been about. Diamond's the one that actually started it. Because when they did what they did to us, and I just started engineering technology just strictly to take out certifieds. That's why when I go to test against my products, we don't go buy y'all stuff and line it up. What's the point? You know what I mean? We know what's going to happen. We go buy the certified screens and do our tests against those. We buy the best of the best that they have. Oh, this is a basketball demonstration, isn't it? Look at the color of the product. Look familiar? Yeah. We know you guys were copying our stuff. We know that from the door. So, since I've been around, before you guys have been around, and I was making products and selling products before you guys, technically, everything that you have is already mine. Because again, I wasn't making it before you guys. You guys just went into my old archives, kind of copied my work. That's all you did. And if you ever want to take that to court, I'm more than happy to, with no problem. I can go back and show my archives and how far we go back compared to yours, and we can show you that you copied everything that we were doing. Anytime you want to let me know, you got my numbers and all. I'm still waiting for lawyers. You were supposed to have lawyers calls a long time ago, and it never happened. Isn't it interesting? I'm the only one that can show documents of people going to court, but yet on the other hand, we haven't seen anything yet. Paint any surface you want. Oh yeah, this is a good one right here. This one right here is painting cardboard. You guys have done this over and over and over again, but we did this demonstration 10 years ago. I can literally do a video. I'm gonna do a video tomorrow, going back showing how you guys copied all our demonstrations from 10 years ago. You've just been mimicking my stuff. This was another thing with the Goo screen, that you couldn't paint over anything you want. Well, look at the difference between the boxes in and the boxes now. Can you paint over a box? We've done this already. So they do it now and go, look, we just, no, you didn't start, Jack. We done this 10 years ago. See, window is always open. Lights are on. Window is always open. So being confined in that room right there, in that small little area right there, by the time I was let loose, the Lord blessed me to move on to a house. Do you see the technology and how I let loose in that place? The things I designed, the things I constructed and put together. You guys had all this time and all this room to do something better, and you couldn't even make one product line for March. That shows you at the end of the day that you're not on my level. All my ideas, all my thoughts, everything I wanted to do in design while I was in this small little area, I used it to the best of my ability. And then when I was blessed to have the opportunity to move somewhere bigger, look at the technology I engineered and made. When I was able to move into a house with a big backyard, look at the screens that I built in that backyard. Danny has plenty of room in his backyard, but you got these tiny little screens up there. You know why? Because you're afraid to go over and beyond, because your product will fail and you know it will fail. It doesn't even pick up properly on that little screen that you show. I'm in the backyard looking at ways how to build giant, massive, monster screens that stretch from one end to the next. This is what happens when you're afraid of your own product. That's coming off a piece of cardboard. And again, mind you, gentlemen, 10 years ago, we didn't have your projectors. The Xbox 360 been around that long? Yeah, 10 years ago. Freedom with lights on demonstration. Oh, this is when we painted the lamp. The lamp is actually painted in screen paint. So about the coughing people. Oh man, I gotta get my it's going on behind me over here on this screen. I gotta understand this already. "4K Tropical Fish" YouTube. That's with the lamp hitting the screen here and here. A lot of demonstrations back then. Uneven surface. This is something that came up quite a lot with Goo screen. You had to have a perfect flat surface. So did this demonstration on doing a projection screen setup on screens that were just made out of different pieces of material. So we had drywall, got a piece of wood right there. That's a BenQ, my BenQ box for my BenQ projector. United States Postal Shipping envelope. And there's the screen paint right there. Look familiar. Hey, Jamie? They're the same color as my product. That's how we know you were copying their stuff. You're copying the tones of my paints. Window's always open. Now, if you sit there and say, well, I wasn't copying anybody, well, show me the timestamp when you first made your product compared to mine. Because I know when we bumped into you. We bumped into you around the time when we had the D5K. This is D5, this wasn't even, D5K wasn't even thought of at this time. It didn't even exist. Because I didn't even know that Black Diamond even existed at this time. We didn't know anything about diamond technology. Max Payne. Yeah, that's way back. Got that on in here too. People think I don't respect great technology. I do respect it. That's where I came from. But it's old. It's done. Look at that. It's supposed to be, I can see right here, I'm watching the demonstration, I can see all the areas it's supposed to have contrast, more color. It served this purpose. I watched a TikTok video. They showed, I guess, a group of older people, and they were watching on this projection screen setup, and that screen was gone. It wasn't even there, but you can see bits and pieces of it, but they consider that to be acceptable. And that's the sad thing about it, because that's what the industry pushes on you. That's what other people follow the industry push on you, that that's an acceptable image, and it's not an acceptable image. It should never look that way. Not in this time. 10 years ago, yes. Now, no. If you ever played Max Payne multiplayer, Max Payne 3, that was freaking really good. Doing demonstrations on PCs and movie demonstrations, yeah. Glow. We literally had a screen paint that glowed in the dark. You think I'm joking? It's right there. 8 years ago. It was a Glow UV screen paint. It was used for nightclubs. This is when we had the contract with the overseas. And they had some nightclubs over there they wanted to use the product in. So we literally made a paint that basically was UV. And it had issues with contrast. A lot of issues with contrast. Plywood. Here we go. And they're done that one. That one was done 10 years ago on plywood. Just about everything you can name under the Digital One Crystal screen paint product, we did it already. So anytime you're seeing a gray paint now, there's something like drywall and this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. It's been done already. And if you want to be made with somebody else. There's my BenQ projector right there. Oh, this is from Paris with Love. Wax on, wax off. Sorry about that, people. I don't know what you can do about that. Wax on, wax off. I remember that with Paris with Love. That's way back. Lights on demonstration. Yeah, I gotta do something. Oh, this is when I had freaking ammonia. I shot this video when I had ammonia. I was jacked up today too. Get a charge from the card. Let me see. Let me see. Bring that over here. Here we go. Up in the battery pack. $720p projector on our light gray screen paint. I lady had a friend that was just like this too. Literally had a friend just like this. Same, almost this Honda Civic. I forgot the model of the car. I know it was a Honda Civic. Speakers from all the way from the back of the car. Had the doors that went up and everything. About the same height and everything. And he'd be coming, all you would hear is this crazy music, boy. You knew it was his car because you can hear the motor and you can hear the music. You knew it was him. And he got out of his car, he was like something like 6'2", real tall dude. Excellent mechanic too. Fantastic mechanic. Did body work, all that stuff, everything. Sorry people if I'm taking a trip down memory lane. Wow, 9 years ago, front and rear technology. This is when Avatar was big too at that time too, 9 years back. Never visit these videos unless I bring them up. So this is a learning process. Now the knowledge that I know now, I know how to make the screen crystal clear with 0% lamp glare that will push you to the other side. It's a little trick. But you learn it after basically doing enough test demonstrations, you learn this stuff. And people I used to do business with in the past showed me some things on how to do it. That's the black vinyl I got from Home Depot. Got banned from ABS forums. Yeah, we got banned from ABS forums. We had an argument with Mississippi Man in there. He didn't like us too much in there. So for those you were around that time, and we got people right now that are running their mouths about that, talking about, oh, he got banned for advertising. See, again, how would you know about this? You weren't even around. So how would you even know? I got banned from there because basically we beat someone's forum site called Mississippi Man, which actually was the admin for that site, and basically went in and removed our information, everything off the site. We didn't advertise anything in there. Just like the fact that it took like freaking forever for him to paint his screen in, and it took a lot of. I wonder if his instructions are shown up there. And he had all this crazy stuff in there, and the arguments broke back and forth. And I was like, look, man, we can paint the screen in 1 hour or less. That's where the 1 hour or less video popped up. We went there, did a video, painted the screen in 1 hour or less without sanding or anything. AVS Forums didn't like it because they had a bunch of people in there that were basically basing their page off that goo screen, that you had to do all this sanding, you had to do this, you had to do that, and then we come in and we do it in 1 hour or less. That doesn't look good for them. So they got rid of us. And nothing new. We went through that before. They just didn't like the fact we showed them up, that's all. I ain't the first forum site. I've been banned by a couple forum sites. They just can't accept the what we do in there. Doesn't bother me none. So yeah, that's why we got banned from there. And basically it's stated right in there, you can actually watch and see that we recorded everything that went on and what happened and why we got banned. But you got people that'll take this, know nothing about it, and say, oh, we got banned for this. And no, you guys don't know anything at all. All these products were fake and was scamming people. Don't know anything at all. Just running your mouth for the sake of just running your mouth. How would you know anything about that? The actual video is right there. We got it right there. What happened and what went wrong and why we were banned were right there. Good gracious, you guys, there's some dumb stuff. What was this one for? 9 years back? Oh, the sky blue. He tried to steal this idea, I remember that. He tried to come up with a product called something sky, something blue, whatever. We had that product, like, I had to go back and say, look, man, you need to cut yourself out. Yeah, Jamie tried to steal one of our products one time. He had a product named something blue, whatever it was. We had that product 9 years back. Ultra Sky Blue, right there. 9 years back. That's why I said, everything that y'all have on your website right now, been there, it's been done. Putting water into your paint, which we never did, but we knew people who did do it, did put water in their paints to make them a little thinner because they were trying to mimic the same texture as goose green. That's nothing new. Yeah, right here. I just did a demonstration. I said right here. Why are 7 to 9 year old digital and crystal screen paints are the same mixes as today? Yeah, the same thing. Literally. The 2.0 is the only thing we upgraded. The 2.0 can do something this stuff couldn't even do because it has a technology we have now embedded into it. That's why the 2.0, if you go to the website, you'll see that there's a challenge under its test. No one's ever passed the test yet. We're still waiting. And all the tests have to be done live. But the same stuff that we were making then, yeah, it's the same stuff they have now. It's the same thing. That stuff is made out of black and white paint. It's made out of black and white paint with silver in it, some metallic silver, like if you would get PPG or Martha Stewart, and it has some glitter in it. It would have, you can go down to Lowe's, and the glitter is basically, what is it? It's that stuff they use for the ceiling. Same thing. You can put gold or silver in it. It's the same thing. It's nothing new. And it goes by tablespoons. That's how we knew when we first saw his ingredients popped up. We go, oh, it's the same stuff we used to make 10 years back. That's how we knew exactly what it was. That's how we were to mimic all his products right there on the table. It's the same thing we did. Everybody did that. If you're making any kind of gray screen paint product at that particular time, everybody knew that the white was the base, the black was the toner. Anything else you had in between was just to cause the screen to pop. That's all it was. But all black was just a toner. That's all it is. So all you had to do was just take some white paint. If you put in 3, if you put in 4, if you put in 6, whatever you put into it, that toned it whether or not you wanted your white levels to be lower or you wanted your contrast to be higher. But either way, the problem you have with that, when like I said, when the gunmetal technology launched, is that you couldn't really produce a darker contrast level without the white levels suffering. And if you had the white levels too high, that means the contrast would suffer. So it was kind of like a back and forth kind of thing going on. Yeah. It's just, there's a gray screen just doesn't have, it's stuck in limbo. If it's saying that it can produce a high white level, that's a lie, because white screens produce the highest white level. And if it says it produces that amazing contrast level, that's a lie, because black screens produce the highest contrast level. So where does it lay at? Nowhere. At that particular time, when people had white screens and people were tired of colors not coming up correctly and they're tired of being in the dark and they wanted something to pop a little better, this is where the gray mixes started popping up. This is where Goose Screen was popping up. Goose Screen was considered to be the black diamond of projection screens. So at that particular time, there were no gunmetal technology screens. Gunmetal is what changed everything. So when you had a screen, sorry about that, you have a gray screen that can produce a slightly better red, a slightly better blue. I'm not talking about dramatic change. I'm talking about slightly better red, slightly better blue, and it can maintain a little better and a well-lit environment, as we're showing you here in these demonstrations. Then this is going to be better than the white screen. But at the particular time, people would argue about the white screen, saying, well, the white screen pulls a high enough white level, it's better. The colors on the gray screens come out too dirty. They're not compared to the pure natural colors that you're going to get off a white screen. Those were debates and arguments at that particular time. They got it completely backwards. So now, when gunmetal popped up, now you have a screen that's much darker, that produces a much heavier contrast level. It produces better color because it maintains better contrast, and because it has a reflective surface, it can maintain its white levels, and on top of that has ambient light rejection technology embedded into it. Can't compete with that at the end of the day, but the only reason why the gray screens still survived because the gunmetals were extremely expensive. $3,000, $5,000 for a screen, yeah. But you can't mimic a gunmetal, which at that particular time, it became the argument of basically which is better now, a certified screen or screen paints. So then it became screen paints versus certified screens. A projection screen will be better any day over top a screen paint product. So they thought. So now you have our technology. Our technology can beat certified screens with no problem. And that theory's gone. I can go to forum sites with that one all day long, and they'll say, well, look, I have a such and so certified screen. You have screen paint. There's no way in the world screen paint's going to beat my screen. And I go in there and knock out all their screens with no problem. Yes, we do. We have that capability. Or what about contrast? You can't produce OLED demonstrations. We go into OLED forum sites all the time, all day in there. Oh, you can't produce 100%. Oh, yes, we can. And we can do it in full lit environments. I can drop it at 1,000 lumens. I can pull a full 16:9 or 235.1 aspect ratio, and you can't even do that in the day. I can drop at 150 inches or 250 inches. Can you go there? I can go outside if I want to. What about you? Nope. No. And I cost far less. Beat them too. Move on to the next one. Gunmetal categories. We walk up in that forum site. What do you guys got for us in here? Oh, the gunmetal is more superior screen. It produces better contrast, it produces better color. Did you just say contrast? My screen's physically black. I can pull 1% star field. Can you do the same thing? Can't do it. Can't compete in color, can't compete in contrast, and we can match you when it comes to the white levels. It's darker screen, so easy. So we wipe that out too. So what's next? Great products? No, you wouldn't be able to touch us. You can't even get past the gunmetal technology, not enough past an OLED. So how are you going to compete with us? There you go. That makes the black technology the dominant technology. That's what I've been telling y'all for years. For years and years and years I've been telling y'all. And one day, the certified screens are going to get wind of it, if they haven't already, and they're probably in the works of developing a black certified screen. Now, is that a threat to us? Nah, not really. To tell you the truth, honestly, not really. They put that reflective material on, Narrow viewing cone is going to be awful. You do not want narrow viewing cone to be popping up on a black screen. You don't want that. That's going to be absolutely awful. So they're going to have to get rid of that reflective surface. From all the certified screens I've tested, they all have that reflective surface, either more or less, but they have it. So what's going to be hard for them is the fact of trying to get a surface that dark without the reflective surface, which is going to be extremely bad with the narrow viewing cone effect. That's going to be bad. That's going to be a nightmare for them because it's going to trigger off even higher because now the screen's black. And then on top of that, there's still going to have to be to generate white light through that surface. Yeah, it's going to be a problem. But good luck on that one. I mean, years we're light years ahead of time. By the time they get their first black screen, we've already done this already. We're light years ahead of them. What is it called? The pecking order of chicken. Chickens have a pecking order on which one becomes the head chicken. Thousand lumens. What have we got? Let me see for a minute. 4K demonstrations, YouTube.
Getting that from YouTube.
Are you vaccinated with Prevnar 20, a Pfizer vaccine?
See? This is the future. Here we are, we got the windows open, plenty of light pushing through. Got a 1,000 projector over here, 5,000 over here. Let's get some beautiful animals on this side too. Beautiful Animals 4K, YouTube. Now, for those who don't know what's going on in this section right here, that's a 1,000 lumen projector. That's 5,000. All this around here is our black technology. This technology is designed to make that 1,000 lumen projector over there generate a high enough gain level and bright enough image to compete with this $5,000 screen projector here. So it's interesting how a screen this black can produce or give a screen projector of 1,000 lumens enough gain to be able to go side by side to a 5,000 lumen projector. So that means it saves, excuse me, it saves the customers a lot of money, because that 1,000 lumen projector is far cheaper than the 5,000 we have over here. And that's 720p, that's 1080p. Which means there's no calibrating, none of that nonsense, you have to worry about any of that headache. Nobody wants to go through all that. It's too much work. All right, well, talked a lot here and there. As for the other, like I said, the stalkers and the haters, yeah, we're just going to ignore you. Anything we see, anything that pops up, we're just going to report it to where it needs to go to, the proper channels. And as likely, you know, we'll be seeing you in court. That's what that's going to come down to. As for our customers, I know you're tired of hearing about it. I'm even tired of talking about it. So we're just going to move on. We got things to do. I got a couple more of these demonstrations to do, and I got orders to push out for tomorrow. I am taking the day off. This is me taking the day off. But then you get an idea of exactly where I started from and how hard I had to climb up the side of that mountain to get where I'm at right now with this technology I have now. Because I was sitting in that little painted room, that little tiny room, I would have never believed I would have had this kind of technology. I told you at one point, sorry about that. At one point in my life, I never had a TV past, sorry about that, people. I never had a TV past 127 inches. I used to go down to Strawbridge and Cloveridge and I used to watch Super Tube, the 40-inch TV, or the floor model TVs they had over there. They had the front projection 45s and 55-inch screens, and I always wondered what it would be like to have or watch TV on a screen that big. I didn't have the money. And now I have the capability to design any size screen, anything I want. I never have to worry about that ever again. Any place I'm moving to, I don't have to go down to Best Buy and buy a TV, or I don't have to go through that hassle. I go buy myself, make myself a little container of paint. I go down and, well, I got plenty of projectors now, so I don't buy any more projectors, but I can go to eBay and pick me up a projector, paint it onto my wall, set my projector up, and I'm done. That's it. I can paint 150-inch right to my wall, and that's my screen right there, without it costing me a ton of money, without me changing my environment, because I'm worried about the screen washing out or fading, whether my projector has enough lumens or contrast or color. That's what you call freedom, people, at the end of the day. And the beautiful thing about it is, if I want, I can take it outside. Alright, so our prices are not going to change. I made that statement a couple of times. We're going to keep our prices. We're going to keep the 24 ounces, the 240s, and I'm going to keep the prices that we have for the 32 ounces. Even when we had the storefront, even when we got our offline customers coming in to buy off our website, we're going to keep the prices the same.
I'm calling my doctor.
Let's see what we got going here.
Paxlovid.
Authorized for emergency use, Paxlovid is an oral treatment for people 12 and up who have mild to moderate COVID-19.
It just means that counter moves so much slower for some reason. So we're going to keep the prices the same. Here, let me show you something real quick. Here. See? See how I'm supposed to pick up from corner to corner? No dark shadows. You have dark shadows in there? That means the screen's not doing too well. Has to come up clean. Which one on this one? Oh, this one. Panda! Panda, panda, panda. Awesome. I love pandas. All right, gotta go. Thank you all, and God bless.